imagine, most of my wreaths are in the pink tones and with some purples. But you know, today I thought I'm going to do something a little bit different. And you know, the nice thing about this is that this particular wreath could stay up for the rest of the spring and in the summer as well. I may decide, you know, to add some florals in at some point. I'll just kind of see what I think of it just as it is. So to do this, I actually had to go in my stash in my craft room, and because, you know, clearly I can't shop. And, you know, I haven't decided not to order very much online either. So I actually have this Halloween ribbon that's lovely. It doesn't have, it's not screaming Halloween. This particular one has some glitz in it, so you know, that one makes me happy. I don't know how much I'll be able to get out of this. And then I have this, you know, really pretty diamond shape one, and then the stripe. And then I also have this one here that is also glittery, but more translucent, I guess is probably the best way to describe it, because you can see through it, and you know that it's pretty as well. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to begin by using my pinking shears and cutting 24-inch lengths. You'll also need a pipe cleaner of some sort or some kind of wire. Let me cut my ribbon, and once I figure out how much ribbon I have, I'll let you know how many lengths of each I have cut. Much to my pleasant surprise, I had enough to make a 16 loop funky bow. So I have cut each of these into strips of 24 inches. Now I must admit that I ran a little short of the chevron, so one of those is only 22 inches. So if you run, you know, short of material, of ribbon, of course you can make a couple of them smaller. It doesn't really matter. You know, when I say 24 inches, you can make them 20 inches. I've made some that are 16 inches, and I've made some that are 30 inches. So it's really up to what is pleasing for your eye. So what I do is I lay them out in a pattern. So I'll start with this one. The nice thing about this ribbon, and that I really do like, is that it's all appropriate for outdoor. There's a plasticized piece or covering on all of it. So I don't have a covering over my front door, so I do, when I make ribbons for outdoor, I like them to have, you know, almost a plastic covering so they stay up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my ribbon in half just like that, and then I'm going to measure 6 inches down, twist. Okay, you just twist, hold it with your fingers, just like this, and I begin fluffing immediately. Then I take my back bow and twist it, the one that's behind, so that the front to me looks the same. You know, the best side comes forward. This is not double-sided ribbon, so you do need to twist it. If you have double-sided ribbon, it's actually easier because then you don't have to make sure everything matches. Then I go to my next one, and again, put it in half, measure 6 inches, and I put that right beside. And pop that in. I do a little fluffing. I take my back ribbon once again and twist it. And you'll notice I've dovetailed my edges so that it looks pretty when it's all done. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and I'll explain when I make some changes. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what our family's been doing during the pandemic. So one of my son-in-laws, Tennyson's daddy, is a firefighter. So he's a first responder, and you know, luckily, so far, so good. They have the equipment that they need in order to stay safe. They have the training that they need in order to stay safe. And so far, as of the time that I am filming this, all is well with everyone in our family. Also, you know, Daryl is the one who really is at the most in danger, let's face it, because, you know, he gets exposure. But as he said, he's been taking extra precautions. He actually is in Windsor, Ontario, which is right on the Detroit border. So we were quite worried when we heard that the pandemic was, breaking out so heavily in Detroit. So I've got 4 going one way. Now I'm going to start the pattern all over again, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, bend it in half, measure 6 inches, and then I'm going to start going the opposite way. Okay, so you'll notice what I'm doing. And I love making these bows, but I have small hands, so making a 16 loop funky bow is always interesting with the size of my hand. So I'm going to start going the other way. I'll keep talking and you can keep watching. So Daryl is also totally and utterly in charge of all of us pertaining to our groceries. He gets groceries for our other daughter and our son-in-law. And let's face it, my guess is none of you were around in 1918 when the last pandemic hit North America, or the world for that matter. So, bottom line is we all have to live through it. And Harold and I have decided that we would be productive. So we have been cleaning and gardening and, watching some Netflix, trying not to spend too much time on the news because, after a while, that kind of takes over your life. And I found that if I watch too much news, my worry quotient increased. We have made the decision to be positive. So you'll notice I'm just continuing on and doing my flipping every time so that the best side comes forward. Ultimately, when you poof it all out, you have to do some more of it, but nonetheless, this is not a difficult thing to do. I have a number of videos on my channel where I make funky bows, and I have to tell you, I am not the queen of funky bows. That is Arlene from Arlene's Country Craft Corner. She is the queen of funky bows. Hers are just stupendous. So that's what it looks like before. And I'm just going to come in. You'll notice my fingers are wrapped around the ribbons like that. And I'm going to take this pipe cleaner and wrap it around, just so you can see what I'm doing. Wrap it around and twist, twist, twist so that nothing falls apart. And this, of course, is where I struggle because my hands are small, but again, it works. So don't worry about it. It totally works. Twist, 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 twist. And so you end up with something that looks like that before you end up fluffing it out. And now what I'm doing is I'm just putting another piece of pipe cleaner on both ends, and I'm just wrapping it around to give some more stability. And before I really continue my fluffing, I'm going to take my 2 ends. These are going to be my tails. I'm just going to I'm going to basically divide them in half and add them in here, and then twist this together. Now you could use floral wire as well. I just find that if I'm using floral wire a lot like this, that my hands just ache. So that's kind of why I'm not using floral wire alone. I really do like these pipe cleaners. Okay, so you end up with something like this, and I just get in there and fluff, fluff, fluff. This is what ultimately makes your bow look pretty. You gotta fluff. Even though I fluff as I go, you saw that I did that, you still have to ultimately continue to fluff to make sure that every loop looks full and pretty. And you know, this particular ribbon here, that's the mesh, and this one here that it's almost very iridescent, black iridescent, if that makes sense. They stand up so nicely. They were a little bit more expensive at Michael's when I bought them. All right, so let me show you now what I'm going to do. Now you'll notice, when I bought this, you'll notice there's almost like it's almost like a little teardrop shape, which I really liked. Most of them were round, and I thought, I really like this shape. So I'm just going to take it, and where the teardrop is at the bottom, I'm just going to take that and open it up. You'll notice, just opened it right up. That way I can snug it in there very, very tightly. I also could have taken those tails and tied those inside as well. But I thought, you know what, this is going to work. And I can just take this pipe cleaner, twist it, wrap it around again to give it more stability. I use these pipe cleaners all the time, and they do work outside. All right, let me hang this up so you can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like hanging inside of our home. And I am going to take you out. It's a rainy day in Ontario, but I will show you the front door as well, how pretty it'll look on the front door. I'm really happy with it. You know, in a perfect world, I would have had more ribbons, so I could have had more tails, but that doesn't mean that that won't come at some point. I'm obviously not out shopping, but you know, at some point I will be again, and I may very well add some more in here. I might even add some florals in. Who knows what will ultimately happen with this wreath. I hope you enjoyed taking a peek at this funky bow and hearing what we've been doing during this pandemic. I really hope you are well. If you have not already done so, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, and thank you so much if you already have, or if you do. Take a few moments to leave me a comment and tell me what you're doing with your time, and tell me if you and your family are well, because that's important in our world as well. And give me a thumbs up, because you know that I like it. As much positivity as we can have in this world today is a good thing. Share this video with people who love home decor as much as we do. Until next time, and I don't have a clue what next time will look like. Bye-bye.